Renovating a 5-inch gauge sweet pea steam locomotive, part 22. The new copper piping has all been cut to length and bent into the correct shape using a small pipe bender. Now is the time to silver solder the union cones to the pipes, followed by cleaning them up and fitting them to the engine. Once all of the piping was fitted in place, I tested the hand pump and it worked perfectly without any problems. This clip shows the copper piping that I'm about to silver solder. I fitted a new union cone and nut to one end of the injector water pipe, and the rest of the piping all had new unions. They weren't all the same though. Some of these union cones are not cones, they are flat. These are for the injector, which allows quick and easy removal of the injector without bending the pipes. Silver soldering is very different to soft soldering. Please watch my silver soldering for beginners if you don't really know what I'm doing. I've covered silver soldering in many videos, so I'm not going to go into too much detail for this one. Suffice to say, if you don't have enough heat, the job will not be successful. Because this locomotive was built in 1987, some of the fittings are not like the modern ones. For instance, the steam tap also needs a flat fitting. Modern steam and water taps for small locomotives are normally cone fittings. It's important not to overheat the part. What I generally do is apply the silver solder and then heat it until it starts to glow red and then remove the heat. This was a bit of silver soldering that went wrong. I thought it would be a good idea to start silver soldering in my small workshop. But in my smaller workshop I only need a small Proxon blowtorch, which is no good for this job. I have silver soldered with it, but not on such a bulky component. The volume of the part being soldered just conducted all the heat away from the joint. To make this job a success, I applied some more flux and a lot of heat, as you can see here. You need to let the parts cool to black before quenching them in some water. This removes some of the scale. This is very much a repeat procedure. Here, once again, I'm applying some flux. Not too much and not too little. Then I press on the cone and apply the heat. It's quite cold in the workshop today, or at least it was before I started silver soldering. Now it's a really comfortable temperature in the outer part of the main workshop. In the next few clips I'm going to show the cleaning up and polishing of the copper piping using my polishing spindle. I'm still in the outer part of the workshop and it's still quite cold, so I left the blowtorch on. I then propped it up in the middle of the brazing hearth and it's warming the little room quite well. A health and safety notice. My polishing spindle has a guard, and this is essential. Once upon a time I used the polishing spindle without a guard and it grabbed a piece of metal and threw it in my face. This metal guard stops that from happening. Back to the silver soldering. There's quite a lot to do. It's a bit of a factory. And it's a no compromise job. Every one of the joints needs to be perfect. If it isn't, it will leak, and then that means you will have to do the job all over again. And believe me, it's getting tedious. Some of the smaller parts are more difficult to polish than the larger ones, for two reasons. One is, of course, they get hot very quickly, and the other is there are plenty of corners for the wheel to grab. Once I'd finished the polishing in the main workshop, I turned off the blowtorch that was heating the little room and I went down to the workshop built onto the house. I then polished the pipes using some Brasso wadding. This Brasso stuff's been around for years and it's great to use, and it leaves a lasting shine. Now it's time to fit the piping. This is the pipe to the injector steam valve. I've used the old style of union nut on the steam tap because it's an old type of steam tap. This pipe passes all the way from where you see it here down through the footplate to the injector's live steam inlet. This is an old number 4 injector and I've had this for about 30 years. It still works, but I've just ordered a new one from David at Jubilee Fittings. In this clip I'm fitting the water inlet to the injector. How do I know which way round it needs to be? Well, the general rule is steam inlet, water inlet, overflow pipe and water outlet to the boiler on the right hand side. Depending of course on which way round the injector's fitted. Either way, it's worth remembering this rule steam inlet, water inlet, overflow, water out to boiler. Once everything is bolted tightly in position, by applying a bit of pressure to the injector, I can move it to sit just where I want it to sit. In this case, underneath the water valve, which possibly isn't the best place for an injector, but it looks good. The logic being that the injector gets hot and you want the water to be cold, so it's not a good idea really to stick the injector underneath the water valve. Because of the physical sizes involved, I don't think this is going to be an issue. This is something that I'll be covering in the next episode. It's the ultimate tip when working with miniature steam locomotives that use either saddle tanks or side tanks. I'll explain it in detail in the next episode. I also fitted a water tap to the water outlet of the saddle tank. Once again, I will explain in great detail in the next episode. At last I arrive at the final pipe to be fitted, and this goes at the other side. It's for the hand pump. I put a small amount of water in the saddle tank, and I'm very pleased to see that the water pump works perfectly. Here I'm connecting the outlet from the pump to the check valve's inlet. It was at this point that I thought that the ram on the water pump was a bit on the small side, but I needn't have worried. It pumps water very well and surprisingly quickly into the boiler. I've definitely decided to make an extension handle for this pump. I kept adding more water and vigorously moving the pump handle, followed by adding more water and vigorously moving the pump handle some more. This is an indication that the water pump's working. As the water's pumped into the boiler, it slightly compresses the air inside. That's why the whistle blows. I continued with the pump until I'd got a good amount of water in the boiler. Everything's watertight, including the boiler. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my main Steam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.